I'd like to call the meeting to order and begin with a roll call of the Regents. Regent Acker.
Present.
Regent Beam.
Here.
Regent Bernstein.
Here.
Regent Brown.
Here.
Regent Hubbard.
Here.
Regent Illich.
Here.
Regent Myers.
Here.
Regent White.
Here.
Good afternoon and welcome to our first Board of Regents meeting of the new academic year. We've had an energetic and engaging start to the semester. This past weekend, we celebrated Parents' Weekend and welcomed families with events, tailgates, and a resounding football victory. I want to thank Vice Presidents Martino Harmon and Tom Baird and the hard work of their student life and development teams for managing everything flawlessly. On Sunday, I had the opportunity to address thousands of professionals attending the International Economic Development Council's annual meeting this year held in Detroit. This was a perfect setting to promote the economic benefits delivered by our university and to encourage the business community's support of higher education and how we drive innovation and creativity in cities and in states. I'd like to thank Vice President Chris Kolb for helping to make this talk possible, along with our economic development partner, Ann Arbor Spark. I would also like to welcome Dr. David Miller to his first full board meeting as our Executive Vice President for Medical Affairs. David, we're very grateful to have you here as part of our leadership team and being the leader of Michigan Medicine. The past 9 days have been a test of our values as a nation. The murder of Charlie Kirk is a tragedy that has stirred powerful emotions, many of which are playing out on social media. Sadly, too much of this language from across the political spectrum, and even from within our own community, has been hateful, cruel, and demeaning. Make no mistake, neither the university nor I condones violence of any kind. That this shooting occurred on a college campus where rigorous dialogue should thrive is profoundly troubling. Violence is never a solution to settling our differences in a society committed to democratic principles and the rule of law. As an Army officer, I swore an oath to support and defend the Constitution. Whether in uniform or in higher education, I have held the First Amendment as sacrosanct. I may disagree with you, but I will forever defend your right to speak out. This is one of those moments of profound disagreement. Some have called for the dismissal of faculty whose personal social media posts generated significant backlash. Their views, however disturbing or contrary to our values, are protected by our First Amendment. In that same spirit, freedom of speech allows us to call out harmful and reckless language. Regrettably, what could have been a teaching moment for faculty members, one to educate students about freedom of expression, respect, and civility, was missed and instead reflected a disturbing side of humanity. One of my priorities as president is for the nation to look to Michigan as a model in higher education for civil and robust discourse on critical issues. In that spirit, we will hear shortly about Talking Maize and Blue, a new module designed to help students navigate and respect different viewpoints, as well as manage emotions when confronted with new or uncomfortable ideas. There have been moments in our university's history where free speech was tested. At times, we rose to the challenge. In other times, such as during the Red Scare, we failed. We must learn from both. What matters today is how we move forward. This is a test of our commitments as American citizens and as members of a university community dedicated to the open exchange of ideas. Whereas many institutions respond to offensive comments with short-term personnel actions, We will instead invest $50 million to accelerate the establishment of a permanent University of Michigan Center dedicated to the diversity of thought and civil discourse, and opening this spring. This center represents a lasting commitment to broadening our campus culture by providing a forum that welcomes all perspectives and fosters respectful engagement. We believe in the value of engaging with diverse perspectives and in the power of debate and dialogue to strengthen our community. It is this mission and goal of this center to be the nation's defining venue for inclusive, respectful, and constructive dialogue. If we abandon free speech on our campuses, we risk abandoning it for our nation. Silencing voices is anathema to a great university like ours. Our common good in pursuit of our common ground in pursuit of our common good must be reason, discourse, and civility. I believe we can and must rise to this moment together in ways only Michigan can. Provost Macaulay will now introduce the presentation from Professor Resnick from the School of Information.
Thank you, President Grasso. Not all Wolverines think alike. We're going to hear how our faculty are engaging students around open inquiry, and it's my pleasure to introduce Professor Paul Resnick, the Michael D. Cohen Collegiate Professor of Information in the University of Michigan School of Information and Director of the Center for Social Media Responsibility. Professor Resnick earned his BA in mathematics here at U of M and his PhD in computer science at MIT, then held positions at AT&T Labs and the MIT Sloan School of Management before joining our faculty in 1997. For nearly a decade, Professor Resnick served as Associate Dean for Research and Innovation in the School of Information. He's an Association for Computing Machinery Fellow, a Computer-Human Interaction Academy inductee, and a recipient of the university's Distinguished Faculty Achievement Award and the SIGICOMM Test of Time Award for his study, The Social Cost of Cheap Pseudonyms. His scholarship spans online communities and political polarization, including the book Building Successful Online Communities. Professor Resnick recently created a website to help the public understand the workings of a vote counting algorithm that creates incentives against polarization. Today, Professor Resnick will speak about Talking Maize and Blue, a provost-commissioned campus initiative promoting open inquiry. The initiative was developed in partnership with Vice Provost Angela Dillard and a task force consisting of faculty, staff, and community leaders. The project issued from recommendations from last year's advisory committee on the University of Michigan Principles on Diversity of Thought and Freedom of Expression, on which he served. Please join me in welcoming Professor Paul Resnick.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. In February, Provost Macaulay commissioned our task force. Our mission is to foster a culture of open inquiry on campus, which we define as people pursuing ideas with curiosity, even if those ideas are controversial or flawed. We were originally named the Diversity of Thought Task Force, but that term is becoming polarized, and so we thought pursuing ideas with curiosity is something that everyone can get behind. We ended up calling ourselves the Talking in Maize and Blue Task Force to invoke a sense of school spirit. When the University of Michigan is at its best, we have more curiosity and less condemnation, more courage and less conformity. Our most immediate task was to design and implement a required online module for all the incoming undergraduate students. The first part was a kind of fun quiz game to illustrate that Wolverines don't all think alike. We start with some lighter questions, like, does pineapple belong on pizza? But we move on to, I know we're going to get the definitive answer today. We move on to some tougher ones, including this one. Should hate speech be censored? I answered no. So after a student gives their own answer, this is the fun part, they predict what percentage of their classmates will agree with them. Here I'm predicting that only 30% of the students will agree with me. And then they get feedback. Survey says, this is the real data. 57% of our incoming students said yes, 43% said no. Now we forced them to give a binary answer when in fact they may have quite nuanced thoughts. So we finished each question with some video footage of real students giving some of those nuanced thoughts.
Should hate speech be censored? Ooh, that's a good question.
Oh, that's a hard tech. I think, like in movies and videos and stuff. I mean, yes.
Maybe less hate speech in the world.
Maybe a little bit of a hot take. I'm gonna say no because I feel like if you start censoring it, it's gonna get out of hand.
It'd be helpful if there's some limitations. The threat that it poses and the encouragement that it gives to other people is so dangerous.
I don't think that it should be censored. I don't think that that's the correct way to deal with that issue. There should be better practices and policies in place to deal with hate speech after it's been spread. So yeah, I'm gonna have to say no on that. Of course, I don't, no one likes hate speech.
The next segment of the online module is a video about how the university supports open inquiry by having many speakers on campus representing a wide range of views. Institutional neutrality, which leaves room for the individual members of our community to express their own views, and structured classroom discussions. The final segment of the module presents the Michigan Pause, a technique to help conversation partners explore their ideas to the fullest, even when they disagree. PAUSE is a recursive acronym, P for pause, A for appreciate, U understand, S share, E explore. Overall, the student response has been about as positive as one could hope for, given that it was required. More than 60% of students recommended it for next year's incoming class. Only about 10% said no, and 30% in the middle. To build on the momentum from the module, we greeted students at Welcome Week events, including Party for Your Mind at the library, where they serve pizza, with and without pineapple. We handed out lots of stickers and also copies of a pluralism workbook and pluralism playdeck created by Rebecca Wallenberg, one of the core faculty on our task force. We told students that a sticker on your laptop or your water bottle is a signal that you're open to conversations even if there's disagreements. And one marker of success over the next year will be if we see these stickers around campus and if we hear people using phrases like Wolverines don't all think alike and the Michigan Pause. As part of the theme year on life-changing education, we're working with partners across campus to offer programming, CRLT, Student Life, learning communities, the Wallenberg Institute, student organizations, even the dining halls. October 6 to 10 will be Open Inquiry Week, headlined by Glenn Lowry on how to speak your mind, how to change your mind. Look for all the events on the Happenings at Michigan calendar. Events tagged with the Open Inquiry keyword all show up on one page. So in summary, we're trying to foster a culture of open inquiry on campus. More curiosity, less condemnation. More courage, less conformity. Disagreements that are constructive rather than corrosive. Thank you for your attention, and I'm happy to take comments and questions.
I have a couple questions. The first one, were there any surprises as you did this? The work you're doing is amazing and it's desperately needed, as you well know. Any surprises?
Yeah, several. First of all, some of the answers to the questions. I had fun predicting like the students did. And so one of our questions was, is it wrong to eat meat? And it was 95 to 5. Only 5% of our incoming students think it's wrong to eat meat. I would have guessed that the number might be higher. I had no idea what the answer was going to be on the hate speech, and so, yes,
Yeah.
anything would have been a surprise.
Right.
I also think just the fact that we were able to go out on the diag with a box of donuts and say, answer some questions, and like the students, they wanted to do it, and they had answers like this. We actually asked 14 different questions. I will say one other surprise was we asked, was the moon landing fake? And we did not get a uniform answer of no. They actually had nuanced answers on that one too. That kind of freaked out our task force, and we didn't include it in the final one until we can figure out how to sort of present something like that in context of, well, how should you investigate and decide for yourself on something like that?
My second question is, as you know, we have some required courses here at the university. How do you feel about civil discourse being a required course?
So actually, I mean, you might know better than I, but my understanding is we actually don't have any required courses. I mean, we have these required modules.
I thought language was required.
So we have some requirements in particular colleges of things like you have to take some language.
Oh, no, I know, not in
LS&A.
your school. Okay.
Like English 125.
Yeah, but.
Yeah, so there are some, we have some big classes.
Right.
But there's no single class that's required of all of our students. So, I'm thinking about this from the perspective of how do you foster this culture? How do you make it so that it's happening in the dining halls, it's happening everywhere, that we're having intellectual engagement, we're being the place where ideas go to get workshopped, which should be the role of the university and society. I'm not sure that a requirement, it might help that culture, but I guess I would be not so sure that a requirement is the way to push the culture forward.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for bringing up the topic of institutional neutrality. It's a concept that I think not everyone in our community really understands, so I appreciate your presenting that.
Sarah, talk in the, and so we can hear.
Thank you for bringing up the topic of institutional neutrality, because I think it's a concept that not everyone in our community truly understands. And so it's great that you're able to communicate that to our students and get their feedback. I'm just curious to know if there was much more feedback they had about it. Did they view that as helping open inquiry and freedom of speech, or did they have concerns about how it might be constraining?
Yeah, so we did include that in this middle section of how is the university trying to support open inquiry, and we tried to give an intuitive definition of we have institutional neutrality so that there's not individual neutrality. Everyone's free to have their own views. We don't really have direct feedback on that particular part from individual students. So I don't really know how the students responded to that. My guess is that for the vast majority of incoming students, that was not top of mind. That's not the thing that they'll remember from this module. Maybe they'll remember, I should take a pause before I shout at somebody. That's more likely something that they're going to take away. But I think for all of us, in trying to formulate it, do we have a simple way of describing why we have institutional neutrality, I think is important.
I can't see if Sarah, if you want to ask any more questions. So we talked earlier today, the board, about this data that indicates that in 2020 surveys of college students, 1 in 5 roughly believed that violence was reasonable to suppress speech that they viewed to be offensive. Now that number is 1 in 3, according to the same apparently credible source. So I'm trying to understand how do you understand that, and what can we do to address that, terribly disturbing information?
Yeah, I agree that that's very disturbing. Again, my perspective, I keep coming back to cultural change, that we don't we can't have a thing where we say that's a bad idea, and I'm going to yell at you until you stop having that bad idea. We have to create an environment where they see that that is not the way in a university that we deal with difference, that in fact, difference isn't something to be feared. It's something that's a resource for collective learning. And we have to make that just sort of part of, everybody on campus has to be able to say that kind of thing and act it out. And then hopefully over time, we bring that 33 number back down to 20 and 10 and 2. When we get it to 1 or 2, then it's just an idea that's out there that, you know, whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
Professor Resnick, I just want to thank you and congratulate you for an outstanding job. That was a terrific presentation, and this is a wonderful project. But before you leave, do you think you could share with all of us whether our students think that pineapple belongs on pizza?
I wish I could remember exactly how it came out. So I'm going to have to get back to you on that one.
A good
That's another thing we have to
professorial
model
answer.
for our students, that it's okay not to know. So, but there is an answer, and I will get you the answer.
Thank you. I'd now like to turn to the Regents Committee reports. Finance, Audit, Investment Committee, Regent White.
Thank you, President Grasso. The Finance, Audit, and Investment Committee met this morning, including Regents Bernstein, Hubbard, and Myers, and we met with the Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer Chattis for a discussion on the university's financial status. We also discussed the operating funds portfolio with Chief Investment Officer Eric Lundberg.
Thank you. Health Affairs, Regent Beam.
Thanks, President Grasso. The committee met this morning with EVP M.A. Miller for an update on U of M Health and a number of financial matters. The committee also received informational reports from throughout Michigan Medicine. Thank you.
Thank you. Personnel, Compensation, and Governance Committee, Regent Illich.
Thank you, President Grasso. The committee, including Regents Acker and White, met with Provost EVP McCauley for a discussion with the Marsal Family School of Education, Dean Elizabeth Moji. The committee also met with VP and Secretary Kinsey for an update on bylaw revisions, and also with Associate VP for Human Resources, Holcomb, for a discussion on several HR matters.
Thank you, Regent Illich. Before we go to the consent agenda, we will vote on conflict of interest items, each of which requires 6 votes for approval. Does anyone have any questions or need recusal from voting on a particular item? Is there a motion to approve finance and property items 4 through 20?
Support.
Okay, show of hands, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Let the record show that it was unanimous. Motion carried. We now turn to the consent agenda and reports, beginning with a report from Executive Vice President Miller.
Thank you, President Grasso, and I would just like to express my gratitude to you and to the Board of Regents, to the University of Michigan Health Board for the opportunity to serve in the role of EVPMA and CEO. I also want to express gratitude to Dr. Marshall Runge for his service in this role. There is a lot of change happening around us right now in healthcare and higher education and research funding. The landscape is increasingly complex for systems like ours and for the patients we have the privilege of serving. However, I believe strongly that we will continue to navigate these changes together at Michigan Medicine, pursuing our mission of advancing health to serve Michigan and the world. This year, we celebrate the 175th anniversary of the University of Michigan Medical School, and this week we've been proud to welcome a nationally recognized leader, Dr. Thomas Wang, as Dean of the University of Michigan Medical School. Dr. Wang is a highly respected physician, academic leader, and researcher with decades of distinguished leadership, clinical expertise, and scientific achievement. These are complex times, but there's so much incredible and I believe life and world-changing work happening across Michigan Medicine every day, and there's still so much ahead of us. I'm deeply grateful for the opportunity to lead our team. I believe that as complex as things are right now, the team at Michigan Medicine is made for this moment and the challenges and opportunities in front of us. Thank you again for your trust in me and your support for Michigan Medicine, and as always, go blue. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. We're very fortunate to have you at the helm. Student life, and we have a report from Vice President Martino Harmon.
Thank you, President Grasso. On behalf of Student Life, I am pleased to extend a warm welcome to all of our new and returning students. We are so glad you're here. In partnership with the Office of New Student Programs and hundreds of staff and faculty volunteers, Student Life has helped a record number of students move into Michigan housing and attend welcome events over the last few weeks. This year, Convocation in Chrysler had such a large turnout that we even had students seated in the upper levels. And I want to give a special thanks to our Michigan dining staff who served over 8,000 new students at our picnic after Convocation in 22 minutes. And thank you, President Grasso, for attending. We got you through in those 22 minutes. We also had a phenomenal turnout at Festival with nearly 1,000 student organizations represented across North and Central Campus. And as President Grasso mentioned, Parent and Family Weekend took place just last weekend, and it brought thousands of parents, families, and loved ones and future Wolverines to our campus for a taste of what our students experience every day. None of these great Michigan traditions would be possible without the many staff and volunteers who help us each fall. So thank you again. It's been a busy start to a new academic year, and the energy on campus is wonderful. Go Blue.
Thank you. We now have a report on the Dearborn campus from Chancellor Scarlatta.
Thank you, President Grasso. I have some news from the Dearborn campus. So our first year enrollment is up 2%. We're now at 1,138 students. This is the second largest class in university history, and that's 3 years in a row of especially strong first year numbers. Our full-time equivalent enrollment is up 1% over last year, and wonderful news, our 6-year graduation rate is up 3% to 60%. And this is the highest 6-year graduation rate in our university history. Our total headcount this fall is 8,005 students, which is a 1% decrease from 2024. And this is primarily due to a significant drop in international students, but I'll get back to that in a second. Early data shows that more than 1,300 students will receive the Go Blue guarantee, which is up 200 students from last year. That is an 18% increase, which shows that the decision to raise the income level is having a significant positive impact on our students. So we thank the Regents again for that decision. With regard to international students, our drop is about 44%, and in first-year international students, new students, and that is due to the fact that our students were not able to secure visa appointments. We have been in touch with them throughout the summer, supporting them, letting them know we're here to welcome them, but they were not able to get visa appointments. So that is where we are. However, there's 2 ways we're working to boost enrollments, both focused on domestic students, looking at increasing online quality offering and expanding transfer agreements. And I do have an example, a successful example. In August, we launched a new transfer agreements with Jackson College, and this program will bring new students to Dearborn. They will do the first 2 years at Jackson, and then they will do the last 2 years at Dearborn, and this is elementary certification, which is great because it addresses 2 issues, our students, obviously enrollment, but also the elementary school teacher shortage. The students will be able to do online for the last 2 years, and they will be able to do their apprenticeship in the Jackson area, therefore remaining in their communities and serving their communities. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chancellor Scarlatta. Now, with news from the Flint campus, we have Chancellor Alexander.
Thank you, President Grasso. I am pleased to report that the University of Michigan Flint has recorded an increase in total fall enrollment for the 3rd year in a row. This year, we have 7,124 students enrolled, reflecting an increase of 9.1% over last year. You'll recall a year ago, we increased enrollment by 6.5% overall, and 2 years ago, we increased by 2.4%, ending 8 consecutive years of declining enrollment. This year marks the first time U of M Flint has eclipsed 7,000 students since the fall of 2019, when more than 7,200 students were enrolled. This fall, all 5 of our colleges and schools are experiencing greater enrollments than last year. Contributing to this enrollment growth is a 10.5% increase in undergraduate students and a 4.4% rise in graduate students. Another notable growth area is the record-setting number of undergraduate transfer students. We recorded 1,041 transfer students this fall, the highest in the 69-year history of the university, representing a 26.6% increase in transfers. The previous high was 957, which was established in 2011. The jumps in first-time and new transfer students continued their upward trend that began in 2022, when those categories showed gains for the first time in 6 years and 11 years, respectively. There are a number of factors contributing to the growth of students at U of M Flint. They include our strategic, transformative approaches to creating more career-focused academic programs, improving our student retention and persistence to graduation, strengthening our recruitment and outreach efforts, marketing our message of exceptional value, combining academic excellence with affordability, and I too would like to thank the board for the expansion of the Go Blue Guarantee, which is making a University of Michigan degree more accessible to qualified students on our Flint campus. I'd like to commend everyone on our campus who are engaged in our enrollment management enterprise, and a special thanks to all of our faculty and staff who work tirelessly on behalf of our student success. We appreciate as well the numerous community partners in the city and county and surrounding areas for their collaboration with us on programs and joining with the university and providing a welcoming environment. Finally, we look forward to hosting everyone at our next board meeting on October 16th in Flint. President Grasso, that concludes my report. Go Flint and go Blue.
Thank you very much, Chancellor Alexander. I'm delighted to hear that both regional campuses are doing so well. They are such a major part of our overall university. That concludes the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second? Okay, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Now we will move to finance and property. Vice President Chattis will speak on the next 3 items, the first of which is U of M Health Sparrow sale of property, St. John's, Michigan. Vice President Chattis.
Nothing to add, Mr. President.
Move approval?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Vice President Chattis, UM lease at 401 East Liberty Street, Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Nothing to add, Mr. President.
Is okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Vice President Chattis, U of M Flint College of Innovation and Technology Building Phase 2.
Nothing to add, Mr. President.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion carried. Next, we have a supplemental item that EVP Miller will speak to.
Thank you, President Grasso. It is my pleasure to present this action request to establish and name the Nathan and Catherine Forbes Sports Medicine Institute. Our Michigan medicine team is so grateful for this gift from Nathan and Catherine Forbes. Their support is crucial to enabling us to move forward on our plan to establish an interdisciplinary institute to advance sports medicine, orthopedic, and physical medicine and rehabilitative care research and education across the state of Michigan. The Nathan and Catherine Forbes Sports Medicine Institute will be a premier hub of our statewide sports medicine network and will bring world-class sports medicine to our patients, top-tier athletes, and amateurs alike. Musculoskeletal conditions are among the most common reasons patients seek medical care, accounting for more than 160 million outpatient visits annually across the United States. And this demand is increasing. This generous gift from the Forbes will allow us to care for more patients, even those with the most daunting athletic injuries. We also look forward to partnering with Michigan Athletics and delivering dynamic, patient-centered sports medicine care to our own Wolverine athletes. Again, I want to thank Nate and Catherine for their leadership and dedication in this effort and for their continuing support of the University of Michigan. Nate and Catherine are co-chairs of the University of Michigan's Look to Michigan fundraising campaign. We deeply appreciate all they do for University of Michigan and Michigan medicine. I look forward to updating this group as we plan a new state-of-the-art facility to house this institute. This is a gift that will truly change people's lives for the better. Thank you.
Thank you, VP Miller, for this terrific news, and we are very grateful to Nathan and Catherine Forbes for their generosity and vision. Is there a motion to approve the supplemental? Second, okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. We voted on conflicts of interest earlier in the meeting. The next item is changes to the Regents meeting schedule for 26 and 27. VP Kinsey, do you have anything to add?
Nothing to add, Mr. President.
Is there a motion?
Support.
So, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that motion carried. Next is the approval of the academic calendar for 2026-2027 for the UM Flint campus. Chancellor Alexander.
Nothing to add.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support. Second, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The next is the student government report from President Eric Veal.
All right. It is once more an honor to sit before you today. My name is Eric Veal Jr. I get the great honor to serve as a Central Student Government President this school year. Also want to give a huge shout out to our Chief of Staff, Haley Waddell, who is also here joining us today in the back in person. We are now about 5 months into our administration with one mission at heart: making CSG more visible, more accessible, more responsive to the communities we serve. Since we last met, we worked to turn our mission into action, pursuing it with intention every single day, serving as a conduit for transformative change across campus. Over the course of Welcome Week and the start of the semester, our administration proudly hosted and supported events, bringing students together to highlight campus as a whole. At Festival on both Central and North Campus, CSG connected with hundreds of students interested in student government, from our events to resources to getting involved. We also heard the ideas and concerns, input we value, and already work to incorporate into our policy initiatives for the year. We hosted Pia President, Pia Rep outside of Joe's Pizza, a lighthearted way for students to engage directly with representatives and the president, but also learn more about CSG in an approachable and extremely messy way. To round our first week back, we co-sponsored Pride Outside with the Spectrum Center to celebrate LGBTQ plus youth. CSG as a whole held its own Welcome Week also, from events like the town hall on the presidential search, as well as campus-wide scavenger hunts, Michigan trivia, and so many other events. We partnered with Mesa to make sure that we are uplifting diverse communities in this time. Soon after, we hosted an event in recognition of Suicide Prevention Month. On September 12th, CSG launched its first installment of a speaker series dedicated to bringing speakers to campus to talk about what's going on. And we look forward to building on this collaboration and connecting with the board to establish a sustained platform for elevating student dialogue and perspectives. Finally, CSG played a central role in Parent Family Weekend, hosting a family picnic and presenting to the Parent Family Council. Each of these moments reflect that we strive to meet students where they are and to strengthen community and to open doors of collaboration. We are eager to continue this momentum with upcoming events such as Know Your Rights and participation on signature campus events. But programming is just one piece of what we do. CSG must also serve as a bridge for 53,000 students, the Regents, and the university. In that spirit, we extend an open invitation to all of you to join us at our university council meetings, where unit student governments set collective priorities. We also welcome you to attend CSG-sponsored events, such as Dinners with Us, which create opportunities for informal conversations between student leaders and administrators. These spaces embody our commitment to amplifying student voice and fostering collaborative decision-making, ensuring that perspectives of students remain central to the university's mission and goal. We are deeply committed to supporting student orgs, which remain the heart of our campus. This year, SoftC and its subsidiaries already dispersed over $71,000 to student orgs, funding that directly expands access, fosters inclusion, and empowers students to build a Michigan experience in their own image. CSG continues to lead not only on our campus, but on the national stage. In August, members of our student government went to a conference hosted by the University of Nebraska, where we collaborated with our peers across the Big Ten to share ideas and strengthen our advocacy work. This fall, we are honored to host that conference here in Ann Arbor and welcome student leaders from across the country to show them that Michigan is at the center of the national student government leadership. We are incredibly proud to even have 2 members of our own executive team serving on that Association of Big Ten Schools Executive Board. Looking ahead, we are exploring the creation of an ex officio position on the Assembly for military-affiliated students to further help advance our support of establishment of a Veteran Center on campus, to provide consistent representation for that community, and to help strengthen our commitment to empowering all students. At the end of the day, our vision is guided by a simple belief. All students do better when all students do better. The truth grounds our programmings, our policies, and our partnerships. It reminds us that student government must not only respond to student needs, but anticipate them building a stronger Michigan from the inside out. We are deeply grateful for the collaboration and support we have received thus far, and we look forward to partnering with you all together to ensure student voice remains at the center of decision-making, and Michigan continues to set the standard for student government. We are looking forward to maintaining partnerships in a successful year ahead. Thank you.
Eric, I just want to, it's great to work with you. And I'll say publicly here from the table what I told your parents when I met them on Saturday at the football game. It's really a pleasure to work with you and your counterpart in our Rackham student government as well, Angelica, and to have you as a part of our search committee for the Presidential Search Advisory Committee. It's just a joy to work together. You're doing great things, and however we can partner with you, please let us, as you have, but to continue to let us know.
Thank you.
Eric, I too enjoyed meeting your parents. But I just sent you an email. I hope that you'll share with us the dates of the opportunities that you're inviting us to, because more information would be exactly what we need.
Perfect. That's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Eric, I would just like to add my voice to the chorus. I enjoy working with you as well, and I look forward to working with you for the rest of the rest of the year. So thank you very much for a great presentation.
Thank you.
Now I will turn the meeting over to Vice President Kinsey for public comment.
Thank you, President Grasso. We are now moving into the public speaker section of the meeting. As part of their regular meeting agenda, Regents set aside time for individuals to present comments to the board. All public meetings are formal events convened under Article 8, Section 4 of the Michigan Constitution, and in keeping with reasonable and appropriate norms of decorum, all attendees, including speakers, should treat each other with respect and civility. Individuals who are approved to speak will be expected to speak to the topic that was submitted during the registration submission, truthfully disclose any relevant organizational ties during the registration submission, and promptly cease speaking after the allotted time. All speakers will receive 2 minutes to speak unless more than 5 individuals signed up for the same topic, in which cases the speaker will receive 5 minutes. Speakers that do not adhere to these rules will be precluded from addressing the board in future meetings. With that said, and out of the way, thank you. And I'd like to welcome our first speaker, Laura Herbert. Welcome, Laura, and you have 2 minutes when you're ready.
My name is Dr. Laura Herbert, and I'm both an alum and a member of the staff union, University Staff United, which is actively bargaining for our first contract. I'm here to share a petition that raises two concerns that have come up repeatedly in our organizing, both related to job security. The petition is being shared with you all via email shortly. For many professional staff, our work is vocational. We find deep purpose in supporting young people, not to mention the world-class research and first-rate health system here at the university. We believe in higher education, and we truly want U of M to succeed. We are also people with lives and bills, families, health issues, and social obligations. Our ability to do our work well is contingent upon there being a supportive and clear-eyed management that treats us like human beings that matter. In these financially uncertain times, staff are deeply concerned about the future of their jobs and the possibility of being treated like an expendable resource. We are calling on you as the leaders of this university to prioritize the job security and well-being of staff as you make serious financial choices. Our work is a key aspect of what makes this university so exceptional, and we ask that you treat us as community members. Our commitment warrants transparency and a voice in the discussion. Second, we ask that you halt the misuse of PIPs or performance improvement plans. The union has been disheartened to learn how many units are plagued by the abuse of this tool. PIPs are currently being used as a backdoor way of harassing and firing employees. These so-called plans often have vague, unclear language and lack concrete timelines and objectives. The PIPs have become a cruel, unethical weapon to dehumanize staff. Getting rid of the talented and committed does nothing for any of us. In short, USU is here today to reaffirm our commitment to building and sustaining a thriving and rigorous institution. Staff are part of the leaders and best and truly deserve your transparency and respect. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Herbert. I'd now like to welcome our next speaker, Jane Vogel. Welcome, Jane, and you have 2 minutes to speak when you're ready.
So I speak today on behalf of Voices for Carbon Neutrality, a group of U of M faculty and alumni. Thank you for the sustained commitment to move U of M forward on carbon neutrality and for the excellent leadership in place. Michigan is poised and ready to accelerate progress. Please ensure that the essential capital and academic projects are funded now and in coming years. Critical to U of M's success will be the approach to its partnership with Los Alamos on the High Performance Computing Center. This is exciting, and it will keep Michigan at the leading edge of research. The narrative needs to be broadened to consider the scale, source, and efficiency of energy and water use. This new computing center is projected to use 85% of U of M's total current energy use. A very large data center in Indiana is projected to use the equivalent of 50% of that state's residential load. That demand could extend the life of one of the dirtiest coal-fired power plants in the country, which may be transferred to a private buyer. The momentum is strong to build these AI data centers. This is driving a seismic shift in energy demand across the country. VCN respectfully has two asks. First one's big. This new computing center is in the local community. Make the entire center a model by positioning Michigan to be at the forefront of problem solving, to optimize its operations, leapfrog technology, power it with renewables, and front load a robust community engagement process. Thank you. Thank you. All right, there was two. I'm getting an invitation to, all right, fine, quickly. It's one sentence. 2, find the right partners and the forums to convene stakeholders to expand this conversation across the Great Lakes region. It's part of Michigan's mission to tackle society's biggest challenges. This is going to be one of them. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd now like to welcome our next speaker, Amy Milligan. Welcome, Amy, and you have 5 minutes to speak. when you're ready.
I'm Amy Milligan. I'm here to speak against the U of M decision to revoke medical care for trans youth. Andrea Gibson said, "This is what we do. We gather each other up. We say the cup is half yours and half mine. We say alone is the last place you will ever be." 17 years ago, I sat in the NICU with my twin newborns who were 5 weeks premature. They weighed 4 and 5 pounds. My toddler home with her grandmother, my wife down the hall recovering from the emergency C-section that saved all 3 of their lives. That night broke me open. I was powerless to protect my family alone. I gave myself over to the doctors, nurses, and staff of the hospital. Our lives were in their hands. Today, they're in yours. 13 years later, the first of our twins, now my daughter Phoebe, told us she was trans. She felt the sex and gender she assigned at birth didn't quite fit who she actually was. Something clicked in her head and suddenly everything made sense. Over the coming months, she took steps to feel more the way she wanted to. She changed her name and pronouns and clothes. With counseling and medical supervision from U of M, she began hormone therapy, which started lifting layers of emotional weight off her shoulders. Each change made her more and more joyful to be alive. Changes to her body made her feel like herself. Changes to her mood and emotions were like night and day from what they were. The mood changes were crucial over the next few years when she faced a number of personal crises. She said without HRT, she probably wouldn't be alive today. My family's healthcare decisions are up to my family and our doctors, not the federal government. Adolescence is a deeply vulnerable time. Without medical care, especially for trans kids, without medical care, they may be subject to permanent harm going through puberty and their unaligned gender. Some physical changes may be medically reversed, some cannot. All can be deeply psychologically damaging in ways that can never be erased. The national political campaign against our children is cruel and grotesque and unfounded in fact or reason. The impact of U of M's decision is far worse than you know. The dominoes are already falling. In the days since the announcement from Michigan, Corewell has already followed suit. Henry Ford is under attack. Parents have heard from providers across the state that they are reevaluating their practices. No one else has the power you have. This will cascade across the country until institutions stand up and say no. Harvard stood up to this administration, and Michigan folded like a house of cards. You've thrown our kids to the wolves. The front lines against authoritarianism should be led by the most powerful in our nation. Instead, you've left the battle to kids and moms. It doesn't have to be like this. The Trump administration has a lot of power and they are grasping for more. But I think you're forgetting who you are. You are the University of Michigan, unquestionably one of the largest, most powerful, and most influential institutions in the United States of America. The leaders, the best. If not you, who? Our kids are in real danger. We are barely holding it together. If you fight, they can't win. If you lead, you won't fight alone. The world is watching. Every university and healthcare institution in this nation are watching, and they will follow you. Law schools will follow you. The people will follow you. History will remember what you did in this moment. If you've ever believed you should do something important with your life, this is it. We need you to reverse this decision. We need you to fight the subpoena demanding my child's personal medical files. We need access to your providers. We need you to publicly condemn the Trump administration's actions against trans youth through your institution. publicly, where our kids can see it in the headlines, not in the words of moms buried amongst hateful and violent comments. I have no wealth or power or friends in Congress, but I am not alone. I'm just a mom in front of some of the most powerful people in this country, and I'm begging you to fight back. Thank you.
I can't talk right now. Sorry. Thank you, Amy.
Yep, thank you. I'd like to now welcome our next speaker, Anvi Arora. Welcome. You have 2 minutes to speak when you're ready. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this afternoon. My name is Anvi Arora, and I stand before you as a student of the University of Michigan on behalf of Friends of the Arb, a group dedicated to safeguarding the University of Michigan Arboretum and the almost 10,000 signatories to our petition to protect the Arboretum from intrusion by the planned automated transit system. You received letters and comments from a diverse group, in addition to ours, on the many reasons to maintain the Arb consistent with its original purpose. You heard from Robert Gracie, former director of the Nichols Arboretum and the Mathey Botanical Gardens, representatives from volunteer groups such as the Ann Arbor Area Wild Ones and the Michigan Botanical Society Huron Valley, and from university alumni, including an essay in the Michigan Alum magazine by J.T. Bowers. And you were listening. We were gratified to see the following statement added to the Campus Plan 2050 website description of the transit system. The university is dedicated to the preservation of the Nichols Arboretum, which for more than a century has been nurtured and appreciated as a special and unique natural community resource. For these reasons, UM plans to only consider potential routes that would not pass through the Arb. For this, we thank you, the Regents of the university, President Grasso, and the many university administrators who engaged with this issue, listened and advised on decision-making. We are grateful for your ongoing respect for and commitment to the preservation of the Arboretum. Today, I want to propose a related but further request on behalf of the Arb. Collecting almost 10,000 signatures and exchanging personal histories throughout revealed how dear the Arboretum is to every Ann Arbor resident and student who has attended the University of Michigan since its inception. Every person has a story to tell, be it a marriage proposal, a poetry class, or a slice of nature away from home. The process clarified to us that the Arb was not just a sacred space for few, but rather a precious place for everyone. In light of this, we strongly request and encourage the Regents to take the necessary steps to officially designate the Arboretum as a zone protected in perpetuity. Thank you for your time, and if allowed, I would like to present this book of signatures to whoever it is appropriate to present it to. So, yeah.
Thank you. Now, would like to welcome our next speaker, guest, Naomi Silver. Welcome, Naomi. You have 2 minutes to speak when you're ready.
Hello, I'm Naomi Silver. I'm faculty in the Sweetland Center for Writing, and I'm a member of the Jewish Cultural Society here in Ann Arbor. I'm here to read a public letter signed by 298 Jewish U of M faculty and staff that we sent to university leadership in March. The letter opposes the weaponization of anti-Semitism to suppress speech on campus. I quote, "We are Jewish faculty and staff at the University of Michigan. We have diverse politics, areas of expertise, and relationships to Israel and Palestine, and we all take anti-Semitism seriously here and around the world. We are united in extreme concern over the exploitation of anti-Semitism to harass, expel, arrest, deport, dox, and defame students, faculty, and staff as part of a broader assault on higher education. These actions are a direct threat to the university's core missions. We must resist the weaponization of anti-Semitism. As Jews, we join with our colleagues of all backgrounds to strongly urge you to do the following. 1, Do not cooperate with attempts by immigration authorities to limit the rights of students and employees in retaliation for constitutionally protected speech. 2, reject unjustified efforts to equate protected speech, including anti-Zionist speech and criticism of Israeli policy, with discrimination. 3, extend the same concern and protections against discrimination to all groups. 4, do not share our community members' information based on their political opinions for targeting and retaliation by the federal government and lobbying groups. 5, stand up to protect even those with whom you disagree. When powerful institutions scapegoat and harass marginalized communities, it hurts the entire community, and it makes the world less safe for Jews as well. This recognition stems from our individual beliefs and experiences, and also from core Jewish values of engaging with disagreements and protecting the strangers in our midst." End quote. Thank you. And I've brought each of you a copy of the letter so you can read the full statement from 298 faculty and staff, if I may hand it over. Can I give it to you as well? Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Over. I'd like to welcome our next speaker, Bob McMurray. Welcome, Bob. You have 2 minutes to speak when you're ready.
Thank you. Roughly 3 months ago, 2 Chinese researchers, Cheng Xuanhan and Yunqing Zhen, came to Michigan to continue their doctoral research with us. They were arrested at the border by police as each of them entered our country. Their crime? Failure to properly fill out paperwork for research specimens. Normally, these infractions would incur a fine or a reprimand. But the authorities wildly charged them with agro-terrorism, and the news reported they faced up to 20 years in prison. Ms. Han has been sentenced to time served after pleading no contest. She will be going home. Ms. Jen was in court earlier today. We hope that she will see a similar outcome, suffering months in jail and then allowed to return home to China. Given that, we might say, no blood, no foul. I believe that would be a mistake. The careers of these 2 young women are at best derailed and delayed. Here at our university, the damage is done as well. The reputation of this institution has been diminished in the eyes of a public who now think that we might be a conduit for terrorists on intent of destroying our nation. In the eyes of international students and researchers, we can no longer be trusted. Who could blame an international student for not being reluctant to come here? The charges against these 2 Chinese researchers achieved the purpose of dehumanizing Chinese people and demonizing China to promote a Cold War with China, which could lead to a catastrophic shooting war. Likewise, the damage to our university silences voices who might oppose hostility between our 2 nations. I ask my university to find the courage to push back against this project. Please make a support for Jen and Han in support of Jen and Han. Make plain the outlandish basis of their persecution and promote this simple idea. China is not our enemy. Thank you so much. Go Blue.
Thank you. Dale Leslie is our next speaker. Welcome, Dale. And you have 2 minutes to speak when you're ready.
Thank you. First of all, I want to compliment everyone in this room because you are the Michigan difference. And I'm a product of the university as well, and I take pride in that. I'm here to talk about something that is pretty positive, and that's the fact that a neighbor of mine, Jim Campbell, and I have pulled together a website on YouTube of local history. And a lot of the local history, of course, includes factors developed by the University of Michigan. So I would like to invite you to visit the site. It is www.youtube.com/Watchmen of the Tracks. And we kind of labeled ourselves as Watchmen because that's what we've tried to do in the past 25 years in producing this video. And it's a cross-section of America, literally. I enjoyed the best part, and that was interviewing faculty members, because I got to interview the faculty members that I had when I was here, who were very distinguished and remain so. And so that was one of the high points for me. Many of you would remember Edgar Willis. He was the chair of the communications department at the U of M. He lived to be 100 years old, and he was an interviewer of mine, and also two of the profs that I had there, Edward Stasheff, who, again, a distinguished person in radio and television, and Frank Beaver, who's still around Ann Arbor, and he's so great in his knowledge of motion pictures and the history of those. So it's really been a thrill, and I just want you to know that Jim and I have invested 25 years in producing this video, and it is really, I think, an informative way of learning about Michigan history. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome our next speaker, Ryan McCarty. Hi, Ryan, welcome. You have 2 minutes to speak when you're ready.
All right, thanks. I'm Ryan McCarty. I'm a faculty member, and I'm an IPSI resident, a parent, partner, small business owner, a volunteer. It's my community. And I'm here to talk about our widespread opposition to the data center we've already heard about. Everywhere we've seen centers like this, it's caused horrible problems for the people who actually live nearby. And currently Michigan, the University of Michigan, a public university, is failing to act like a good community partner. It's failing in its mission to serve the public. Michigan is refusing to present any documents to local officials to validate assurances. We're told the water will be fine. Don't worry. Michigan doesn't have a good history of believing that story. We're told that don't need to worry about power because DT is building a separate substation. But substations don't actually make the power. They just reroute it from somewhere else. That means at best that we can rest assured that our already under-maintained grid will, when it goes down, that they will more easily be able to service this project, this financial project of yours, and we will be left in the dark literally for longer. There's people on life support in my neighborhood, great grandmas who will die so that this data center can get back up and running quicker. That's what the substation we're promised will do. So either the people telling us these things don't actually know the difference between a substation and where power comes from, and if so, why should we trust their assurances? Or they think we don't know and they can fool us, and if so, why should we trust their assurances? If this is such a great project, by all means, put it here. Put it in your yards, not ours. I think IPSI has seen enough of other people profiting off of denigrating our neighborhoods and leaving industrial waste behind. You have a choice. You can fight climate change or you can build this facility. There is no way that we can make carbon neutrality with the kind of numbers that we've already heard about. You can't do both. You can serve the public or you can scrap this plan and build the facility. Look, you can't. Stop it. Don't do it. We don't want it. Build it here if you got to have it.
Thank you, Professor McCarty. I'd like to welcome Janae Randall. Welcome. You have 2 minutes. You're ready.
Hello, my name is Diajane Randall, and I'm a student representing the Student Sustainability Coalition. Our mission is to unite student organizations, and administration to advance the shared goals of sustainability and environmental justice that benefits all members of our community here at the University of Michigan. We carry out our mission through roasting coffee for sustainability chats at Maize and Palmer, facilitating student carbon neutrality network meetings, which brings together leaders of student orgs to push forward a central goal, meetings with administration, and our grant programs, the Planet Blue Student Innovation Fund, and the Social and Environmental Sustainability Grant. As of last year, these grants provided a total of $250,000 for student-driven sustainability projects on campus, ranging from events by student orgs and large-scale projects such as the sawmill, the campus farm compost sifter, and one of my favorites, the farm stand. This year, however, we received a significant reduction in funding, leading us to cut down our grant program by 80%. We appreciate the support that you have provided thus far, and we ask that you continue that support. We're excited for the large investment in sustainability infrastructure, but this shouldn't come at the expense of student programming, because student involvement and innovation is key to helping the leaders of tomorrow combat the climate crisis. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome our final speaker, Andrew Thompson. Not here? Okay. Mr. President, this concludes the public speaker portion of the meeting.
Thank you, Vice President Kinsey. Meeting is adjourned.